You're listening to Spill the Sea with Ashwati Ramesh.
Hi, Kunshpreet.
Hi Ashwati.
So nice to see you again.
Same here, and thanks for having me here. I'm
Of
so
course,
excited.
super keen. This is a topic that we
Yeah,
haven't touched upon yet, and
right.
excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah,
So, before we jump in, I just want to give Copper and Cloves a quick shout out.
Mm-hmm.
As always, they have let us use their beautiful studio space to record
Okay.
this conversation. Um, and yeah, let's dive
Yeah,
in.
awesome. Yeah, let's get started.
Okay, cool. So, do you want to maybe for our listeners, before we dive into the details, give a quick brief about what you guys do?
Sure. So I'm the co-founder of Angiras. Angiras is a circular economy startup where we recycle waste to building materials for green construction. And currently we are at a pre-pilot or pre-commercial stage. We have done pilots across India, and now we are launching in Bangalore.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, how did you, I mean, what's been your journey before founding
Yeah.
Angiras?
So I started Ankiras right after my graduation, and even before I gave my final examination of this eighth semester, uh, and that was like peak COVID era. And we've
Yeah,
been working on this project since my third and fourth year of my graduation year. So I come from Udaipur, and we've grown seeing lakes and this beautiful Aravali ranges across the city. And since it's like a tourist destination, also, there's a lot of plastic waste being generated there, and
yeah,
that ends up on the periphery or on the roadside of these tourist locations, right? So apart from plastic waste, there was another issue of marble slurry waste. So 80% of the marble processing hub is in South Rajasthan, including Udaipur. So a lot of plastic waste goes into these landfills, dump yards,
yeah.
etc. And we wanted to find some solution out of it. So we started this, can we experiment using combining both the waste and come up with some building materials. So as a civil engineer graduate, like studying that time, we just could think of only the building materials, and that's how the innovation came in mind, and we started doing this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's quite early for someone. I mean, we hear a lot of
Yeah.
stories about people coming in and starting, which is mostly on the software side.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting to hear that you
Yeah,
started out
yeah, it's
so
full
early.
hardcore hardware manufacturing. It's quite difficult as well.
Yeah. And so, how did I know you and Lokesh
Yes.
have founded this together? So,
Yeah.
what's the story there? How did you guys meet?
Right, so Lokesh is my senior, and before starting Brex, which is our flagship product, experimenting in our college laboratories, we were already working on different projects. He was also working on different kind of projects. I was also working on lightweight concrete. We participated in different competitions across India
Right.
and winning few of them. And then for this particular project, because he also had an interest, he was working on the marble slurry, and I wanted to bring this plastic component into it. We collaborated for this, and we had a team of like almost 10 people from my friends from my year, graduation years, and from his also, they were like his friends from his year. So
Yeah.
we collaborated, and then we participated in national hackathon, which is Smart India Hackathon.
Right.
So we came second, like on a national level under waste management sector, and we got really good validation from industrialists, from clients, from mentors across the country who's already working on waste management or green construction. And we then decided ki we should take this further, because this is like not just Udaipur problem, but it's a global problem
Yeah,
across India. Like
absolutely.
we're going through a lot of plastic waste consumption, and then if there is a consumption, there's going to be waste as well, right? So that is something that we decided. And since he was my senior, so he graduated 2 years earlier, so he worked in a project management consultancy in Mumbai, and he also gained experience there. But
Right.
then I was in while doing completing my graduation, I was doing R&D already. And then there was a time that he decided to leave his job. He took a really tough decision, going
Yeah.
against all the norms and his family, and then he came back to Udaipur, joined, then we incorporated company as a two co-founders, and then we started this. It
Amazing. I
has
think
been
I
like,
met
yeah.
you all just about when you all did that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
initially we're going to everywhere, to all the accelerators,
yeah,
incubators, to
yeah.
get support. Yeah, it was like amazing journey.
Yeah, and it's nice to see how far you guys have come. I think meeting you all so early in the
Uh,
game also, and to see how you all have
yeah,
evolved, it's been great.
yeah.
So, okay, maybe switching gears slightly and getting into the market.
Uh-huh.
Um, so the obviously we touched upon this. It's
Yeah,
manufacturing, harder to sort of navigate sector, which is the
yeah,
construction industry.
right.
Um, they have been known to be slightly
Hmm.
resistant on the innovation side.
Right.
They're very price
Yeah,
sensitive.
it is.
So, what's that been like
Yeah.
on a general level for you guys?
So I think the construction industry itself is a most conventional and unorganized industry. Like in construction industry, there's like a lot of elements. If you see like with the building materials like cement, steel, bricks, with the project management consultancy also, like in the PMC stage also, in the designing stage, there are a lot of
Yeah,
elements within the construction industry is what I feel. And it's very sensitive, and going against a material that they have been using from hundreds of years, and using something that has recently come. It's been like 2 3 years only. So
yeah,
something like for them also it's a big change, and it's quite risky as well. So like for example, like if me and you building a dream house, we don't want to take risk, right? It's
yeah,
like the future investment that we're gonna do. So that is why it has been like they've been like very slow to adoption, because they don't want to take risk
yeah,
around. And because also like then again it's like very cost sensitive market. It's very unorganized, from marginalized workers to hierarchy, like everyone is get involved into it. So we have to take everyone permission if you are making any change. If the companies are making any changes, so like it's like
yeah.
very slow
Very
moving.
long
It's like,
lead.
yes, could be, we can say like it's equivalent to government bodies. So if you have to make any change, you have to go through the
Multiple
different
layers.
multiple layers and gets their permission. So that's where it has been really slow, and again, yeah, price sensitive. So but yeah, we are trying it, starting with small and experimenting with small scale projects, and see how it impact in the long term. That's the only way I think we can gain their trust.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you see, because I know you're one of the few players sort of experimenting on this
Mm-hmm.
side, how do you see the sustainable building material
Mm-hmm.
market evolving, whether globally or
Yeah.
here?
So I think globally, like if I talk about globally, like there are few companies that are doing amazing. There's one company called Bifusion in California, US. They have raised millions of money. They're scaling to US market, quite good. And then there's one company called Kenotic, which is again an Edinburgh, UK company. They have also scaling to UK, Europe, and MENA market. So like few companies are there that have been my motivation as well, that are doing really amazing job.
Yeah,
In India also there are like few companies who are doing sustainable or alternative building materials. But I think like here, the as we speak, like as we spoke, like the construction industry is slow to adoption. So we all are figuring out how we can scale it further. Though we have done pilots, we have done all the testing, but how do we take it from 1 to 100?
yeah,
And that is where the challenge lies, right?
yeah,
Because it's not easy to adopt new material. And also from the government side, like there are policies, but they are not much forced to these private and government companies to adopt
yeah,
sustainable materials, right? So that is where the challenge, and that is why we've been like struggling how we can scale it.
right. So I'll come back. I know the customers' perception and I guess gaining their trust is a
Yeah.
big point here. So we'll come back to that in some time.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that y'all are not just tackling the brick industry, y'all
Yeah,
are also looking at the waste
of course.
sector.
Right.
So could you throw some light on that?
Yeah, and I mean, like we started to solve the waste problem initially, so plastic and industrial waste. So we experimented with different kind of waste. Though we started with marble slurry and plastic waste, but we soon realized that marble slurry could be available in Udaipur and maybe nearby region. But if we have to go to Chennai, Bangalore, if we have to go to Delhi, we might not been able to find this much quantity of marble slurry. So we understood that at very beginning, and
Right.
then we started experimenting with different kind of industrial waste, so we started experimenting with fly ash waste, foundry dust,
Yeah.
then granite waste. So granite waste is mostly available in Tamil Nadu. Foundry dust is mostly available in Gujarat. So our objective, like wherever we go, we find this local waste and come up with a solution to solve the local waste problem,
Understood.
apart from just plastic waste. And yes, plastic waste is available pan India, like globally.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
is not an issue, but the issue is like how do we use the other industrial waste. So
yeah.
now as we are starting in Bangalore, we are using construction and demolition waste.
Hmm.
CND waste is again one of the biggest problem, from like government also, they're also trying to find solution out of it.
Yeah.
And if you see, like I read a report like like pan India, we generate almost 200 million tons of CND waste, and it goes on landfill. There is no ultimate solution out of it.
And that's only going to grow.
Yeah, and that is already growing because the urbanization and developments keep happening, especially in these tier 1 cities.
Yeah.
There's a lot of influx from the small cities to these tier 1 cities.
Yeah.
That's where the opportunity lies, right? So it's not going to slow down, but it's eventually going to increase and increase, and
Yeah.
we need to find solution out of it. So these are the materials that we are using as of now, and that's the objective. Like wherever we go, we want to utilize this locally available waste, that we can solve the local waste problem also.
All right. So let's dive into your flagship product, which is bricks.
Yeah.
Do you want to share some details?
Sure. So the bricks has been our hero product so far, and it's made from 100% recycled material. We don't use any natural resources or virgin material. In fact, we also don't use water in its composition.
Right.
So it's all made from recycled material, the waste material. We just don't wanted to solve the waste management problem, but we also wanted to offer some more values that we can compare to the conventional material, and that's why we've been like experimenting. So now the product that we have achieved, it's like the property wise, it is damp proof, it is 30 to 40% more stronger, that they can use in foundation, load bearing applications as well. And it also a lighter in weight, like 20% lighter as compared to the conventional clay bricks.
Right.
And one of the most interesting factor of this that we have even not thought about it is the thermal insulation property.
Right.
So it also, like it's so the insulation property is significantly less as compared to brick, the clay brick or the concrete blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And it has actually also come from a client side also, like one of the project that we did in Chennai.
Mm.
The client said that I'm facing almost 5 to 8 degrees Celsius less inside the building that is made of
Right.
your product compared to outside in a peak summer
Right.
temperature. So that has been like really exciting, because we have not thought about this property in
Right. Right.
particular. But
But it came
it
to,
came like
yeah.
we also like experienced that also a little bit while we did our own structures for ourselves, while we
Yeah.
were doing initially trials on ground.
Mm.
But if like it's different, like me putting outside about this factor compared to a client putting this outside
Yeah,
to in
yeah.
his testimonial. So yeah, and we also got it tested later, and it came in the reports as well, like yes, the insulation properties is quite best.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I know you mentioned a few properties already, but are there any other ways in which, there are benefits in comparison to the traditional clay and fly ash
Yeah,
bricks?
yeah, of course. So again, like as these bricks are machine manufactured, so it has very fine edges and good surface area.
Right.
Like the surface is quite smooth. So you can also go with exposed brick work. You don't need to do the plastering. You can just do the brick work and
Right.
just leave it as a. And in fact, like few projects that we have worked upon, they actually have done an exposed brickwork. So what happens after
Right.
that? It saves their cement cost, the
Yeah.
plastering cost, and cement is quite expensive in the construction space. So again, so if you are going for exposed brickwork, that can save huge cost in plastering. So one of the
Yeah.
another added
Yeah.
value that we can offer.
So are there specific regions
Mhm.
or that it's probably better to use bricks in, or is
Hmm.
it sort of you can
Yeah,
maneuver this geographically?
yeah. So like as it has a waterproofing, damp proofing benefit, so it can go well along in areas which has like monsoon prone areas or tropical areas where there's a lot of rain, especially like cities like which are closer to ocean because it has humidity and moisturous environment like Mumbai, Chennai. And again for Bangalore also there's a lot of rain also,
Yeah.
there's happening, so it can resist the water. So if you build structure, it won't let water molecules to come inside or pass through the walls. So that is
Right.
one of the geographical areas where bricks could be could be a hero product. Yeah.
Right, right. And maybe coming on to the actual manufacturing side, you said you use waste, right? And no
Yeah.
virgin material. So
Yeah.
what kind of waste are you repurposing?
So we are using the single-use plastic waste which does not get recycled. So for example, multi-layer plastic. This is your
Yeah,
packaged food plastic like Kurkure chips,
yeah,
and then polythene as well because it's such a low value added product. Or plastic that doesn't get recycled also, and no one wants to recycle it because they get nothing out of it.
mm-hmm.
And so this the plastic is we used as a binder replacing cement, and we then use filler where we use CND waste, construction demolition waste, or some kind of other industrial waste whichever available locally. So these kind of
Yeah,
materials we use, we make a composite mixture ratio which we have achieved through a lot of hit and trial method through R&D over the years,
yeah,
and then we mold it into the shape of bricks and blocks.
right. And since you touched upon this, we can get into,
Yeah.
I guess, the next question on, what's the manufacturing process looking like?
Mm-hmm.
Um, how is it more
Yeah.
efficient than, what the traditional industry is
Right.
doing?
It's quite simple in principle. It's kind of like a simple mixing, melting, and molding process. So we call it 3M process: mixing, melting, and molding.
Right.
And we actually like design this whole process in house. So my other co-founder Lokesh, he also come from civil engineering background and he has zero expertise in mechanical. So he himself
Right.
studied, how this machinery works and what would be the process that we can adopt for our materials and our process.
Yeah.
And he understood that there is some US based process for making road, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the mechanism that we can also adopt. So that's where he went on developing the machineries. He designed the whole system in and out in house, and we also have a patent on it. So we've
Right.
designed this whole in house, and
On
where
the
we
process.
mix, yes, on the process where we
Mm.
mix the material, then melt into with a specific temperature and pressure, and then mold it into the shape of bricks and blocks.
Right.
So like it's kind of like a scalable model, but yes, initial investment would be high in the machinery, but if it's run with even 90% production capacity, it
Mm-hmm.
can break even in 18 months.
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys are right now doing this in-house with your own,
Yeah.
at your own plant, right?
Right.
So are
Yeah.
you all planning to do this in-house, or you're going to start as you scale,
Yeah.
obviously, I guess working with
Yeah.
outsourced
I think
plants?
that would be the ultimate plan to scale faster, in fact, because we understood that we cannot supply from Bangalore to Pan India or being
Yeah,
from Udaipur to Chennai or Srinagar.
yeah,
So we have to have a decentralized models or decentralized plants, manufacturing units in hubs where urbanization and development is growing rapidly.
mm,
So because that's where the demand comes, right? So we are looking for the partners who can do contract manufacturing, or where we can license our technologies. So
right,
something like that kind of model is what we're exploring.
right,
But since we wanted to start first from Bangalore, we decided to have our own factory, own production system, so
yeah,
that we can validate and put this
yeah,
as a success story to other uh, stakeholders or partners who want to also join
mm,
us. I'm
yeah,
getting a lot of interest as well, like from global market, from US, Australia,
right,
coming to us. They visited our factory as well. They want to adopt this technology, but we've not figuring out like what business model should we adopt to work with them, how we can protect our IP,
yeah,
and how we
yeah,
can scale to 10x. So that is where we are figuring out.
understood, got it. No, but it's nice to know that there's interest
Yeah,
coming in
yeah.
and,
From India as well, we get a lot of interest from Hyderabad, from
mm,
Gujarat, from these locations.
yeah,
They want to join us.
right. So maybe talking about, we did touch upon the price sensitivity.
Yeah,
And I know, of course, that the earlier stages,
yeah,
there is going to be a premium for
right.
such materials. So maybe how are you seeing this playing
Mhm.
out? Where are you all at right now in terms of comparison to the traditional costing?
Right. So when we were operating in Udaipur for almost like we were operating in Udaipur for almost like 2 years. So we realized that for a small market, like for a small city like Udaipur, it's could be difficult for such material because there is not so much of adoption.
Yeah.
Though we were getting a lot of interest from southern part of the country, from Chennai, Bangalore, and Hyderabad,
Mm.
and we decided to scale. Next we have to be near to such place because we can't keep transporting the material, and we might lose the interest from the clients if they have to pay 2x for the transportation also. So
Yeah.
that's why we decided to come to Bangalore. I studied a lot of other market as well, like I studied Mumbai, Delhi, and
Yeah.
Bangalore. I've been coming to Bangalore from last 2 years and meeting clients, meeting partners who can supply us the raw material and what's the market look like. And I realized that in Bangalore or in the other South Indian cities as well, the clay bricks, that is like the major challenge. The price of clay bricks is already higher, so
Mm-hmm.
here we can compete with the clay brick. We might still be like 10-20% expensive at this capacity that we're operating, but as we increase our capacity we will able to match the price of the clay brick and also then the cement blocks as well that are widely used in
Right.
Bangalore. So now we have to like just have to improve our model and then increase the capacity again based
Yeah.
on the demand, and then we'll definitely be able to match the
At
price.
par.
Yeah,
Understood.
yeah.
So, what are some of the maybe biggest technical challenges that you all faced while
Yeah.
developing this market product?
Hmm. Right. So, like initially, we've been struggling a lot because it was COVID. We were not able to find and source our raw material, which is majorly plastic and the industrial waste,
Yeah.
and setting up the whole supply chain around it, from
Mm.
waste workers to the recyclers or the segregators, and then getting that material to our factory
Yeah.
was again like a supply chain issue. And when the materials comes to our factory again, like how do we pre-process it because it was not very well segregated and washed, so we have
Mm.
to go through all those kind of process and train ourselves and the workers also who were engaged with us.
Yeah.
So that was quite challenging, and then coming up to composition, like the ratio of the material, how should we blend both the material to achieve the better properties, because if you like increase one of the material to more add more, the property might get reduced.
Yeah.
So we have to keep that balance,
And
right? So
precision.
exactly, so that was again one of the challenges, and that's why like it took us a lot of years, like in 1 or 2 years, to do the R&D
Mm.
for the material innovation as well. And then comes another challenge of technology. So as I mentioned,
Yeah.
like we are not the team from mechanical background, but then we ourselves educated ourselves and experimenting through how we can make the whole process around mixing materials and then making bricks and paver blocks. So again, like it was quite a journey, but yeah, but we on the way we were able to figure it out. Yeah.
Right. And you did mention paver blocks. So, what are the other
Yeah.
innovations that you're working on?
Right. So Paver Block is our next product that we have already done the pilots across some locations. We are just waiting for the final reports because we
Right.
wanted to test Paver Blocks for almost like 12 months
Mm.
through through different seasonal changes and how does it react in
Yeah.
different temperatures. So that's what we have been doing, and we will be soon launching Paver Blocks as well, where it can be used for footpath,
Right.
road construction, landscaping, garden, etc. So these are the applications we are targeting with paver blocks. Apart from paver blocks, we're also looking at wall panels.
Okay,
We
interesting.
Yeah, so we are also getting few demands for the wall panels recently, and so one of the client that I was talking to, he required these wall panels for the cold storage houses or
Right.
warehouses. So
Yeah.
so we don't have the capacity to fulfill that order as of now, but this is
Something.
something that we are looking in near future, and it could be again like a solution for the quick installation, because you just have to like install. It could be like a prefab panels where you can go and just install for
Right.
modular housing
Right.
or quick construction. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
already like the economy that we have for a 10 minutes delivery, so we are already
Yeah.
going to that quick installation side as well, something like that we can
Right.
do in near
Right.
future.
Interesting. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So maybe coming back to the point on customers we were
Yeah.
talking about, who are your primary customers?
So we are looking at builders and architects who are into sustainable construction or green buildings, because again we've realized that not all the builders, not all the contractors are our customer.
Yeah.
So we have to go very niche and be specific to the personas as well, like target those clients only who already understand the scenarios, the challenges, and are aware about the green construction.
Yeah.
So we're only targeting those clients and those builders, architects, where they already wants to look at least sustainable
Yeah.
construction materials for their overall green construction project. So yeah, that's what we are targeting. We're working with few builders and architects already here in India, in Bangalore,
Okay. Interesting.
and we are looking how we can reach to other more architects as well who are into sustainable construction.
Right. And how do you see this evolving? Because even I have a few friends in the architecture space
Hmm.
who are now starting to talk about this and
Yeah,
focus. So,
yeah,
how do you see that? Is it like a
yeah,
large scale
yeah.
perception shift, or is it just still a few?
I think it's still a few.
Mm,
Maybe in Bangalore and in metro cities, people are still talking about it.
yeah,
And Bangalore also actually is one of the top city in terms of green construction.
right.
So most of the green buildings that are LEED or IGBC certified, it's in Bangalore, followed by I think Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and then Hyderabad.
Mm,
So these are like the hubs. Maybe people like the architects and builders still talking in these locations, but still not widely adopted in tier two cities like Jaipur, Pune, Indore. So these kind of
mm,
locations still we need to get started. But
yeah,
yeah, I think there's little bit of shift towards green construction, because we are seeing climate change and built environment and construction is one
yeah,
of the major cause that is leading to again climate change. So we need solutions such. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And is it more of a, is it skepticism on the product side, or is it more on the
Mhm.
price side?
I would say both actually, because even if like we have to be very specific. Even if we are charging extra or a premium, we have to give them added value.
Yeah,
Sustainability could not just be the value to charge a premium price, is what I've understood.
yeah,
So that's why like properties like being damp proof, better insulation, being lighter in weight, and you can also go for load bearing, non load bearing application is something like an added value, that benefit that we are offering to our clients, so that we can charge the premium. It should be justified as well. You can't just go and ask 20x
yeah,
or 30x just on the name of sustainability, at least from these construction players or the people who are into the construction industry, because it's very cost sensitive market. Even if you like
absolutely.
increase 1 rupee per brick, it will increase the overall
Yeah,
construction cost, right?
yeah,
Because like they are using 10,000, 20,000 of bricks, so you're increasing 20,000 price of
yeah,
the whole construction, and that's something they might not be very convinced doing it.
yeah. What are some of the top points of conflict where you have to
Hmm.
convince someone to
Yeah.
adopt your product?
Uh-huh.
What are some of the points that you find yourself having to spend a lot of time on?
So I feel like when I'm like talking to these corporate builders, when it's kind of like a big builder or developer organization, though they are focused on green construction and their buildings are green, IGBC or LEED certified,
Yeah,
but again like for them also using like an 10x or 20x expensive product is like a big no. I mean, like they would go, they want to use the material, there's no question on it, but they will go debating on why it's expensive, can you reduce the cost, And I was like we're not able to reduce the cost because we will not be able to pay our laborers, workers, and buy the raw material. And that is something that we can just, like we can just sell at the cox price, like, where we can recover our manufacturing cost. And still they will not been able to convince, like, you have to reduce more cost or something on the cost. Is, I
Yeah.
find it's quite difficult to work upon with large organization.
Yeah.
And with these large organization also, they have multiple layers, like, they're going to be ESG person, they're going to be like ESG or chief sustainability head, then they're going to
Yeah.
be like a procurement person, and then they're going to be like, sales person. So there's so much layers around it.
Yeah. Takes a long,
Takes
the
a
cycle
long.
is long,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, it is a general trend that
Yeah.
a new technology
Have to
follows,
go
right?
through
When
it.
it starts,
Yeah.
there is that battle on the price
Yeah.
front, and eventually, when orders
Hmm.
come in and you'll
Yeah.
scale to a certain extent, you have
Right.
economies of scale.
Exactly right. So that's where, because if you see, like, the bricks and the concrete blocks, they manufacture around 1 lakh a month
Hmm.
for a like for a one manufacturing plant also, and we have like half of the capacity. So we can match the price at this stage. But
Mm-hmm.
we can definitely do that. There is no, like, that's not a problem for us, but it's
Yeah.
just that we have to also see the demand coming to it, and then
Right.
we have to get some more funding to invest into the capex.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kunshpreet, are there any pilots that you would like to tell us about that have, been successful?
Yeah.
Customers have, you know.
Right. So one of the pilot that we did was like in Chennai, where we built this badminton court.
Hmm.
And so it was almost like, where we supplied 12,000 units for the construction of this badminton court, and they kept it exposed. So they've just did the whitewashing on over it, because it's, the color is a bit dark, and they wanted to protect from sunlight. So they did that, but definitely, like, they go when they didn't do the plastering over it.
Right.
And in peak summer they were also facing less temperature inside compared to
Yeah.
outside. So it has been like a a very successful story for us, because the client said that he's getting more demand for us for our product, and he want to join us as a partner where he can look at that particular market as well. And apart from that, we have done several other housing and industrial projects, where we
Yeah.
supplied for partition walls, for industrial walls as well, where they wanted to build offices, toilets, because it's again very good for making toilets where they can use the damp proofing property out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've also supplied few bricks to Srinagar, where the contractor wanted to build community toilets for the tourists coming for this Amarnath Yatra.
Right.
So
Right.
so they also wanted to put an example where we can, these people who are coming as a tourist, they also generate a lot of plastic waste
Yeah.
again. So that plastic waste could turn into bricks, and these bricks could use to build such infrastructures for the community, right? So that kind of like business, that kind of like model they wanted to put out there in Srinagar. And
Mm.
then we, here in Bangalore, we are also doing some STP projects. We are doing some
Okay.
villas. We've got the orders, and it's already into the manufacturing phase. And we've also got one community conventional center order, which has to be supplied in Mumbai for the marginalized people. So it was like a sponsored by some other organization, where they wanted to do some social projects. So yeah,
Right.
I'm seeing a lot of interest, like, from, it's not just from architects and builders, but from the corporates and from organization also.
Very
They're
nice.
open to use such kind of like material for
Right.
green construction. Yeah.
Right. 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 No, that's wonderful to hear. Another question I wanted to ask you was, considering your manufacturing capacity right now,
Hmm.
what's the sort of, maybe if you have some
Yeah.
numbers on how much waste you're able to divert
Right.
and
Right. So the capacity that we have here in Bangalore, with that we're able to divert almost or recycle almost around 50 ton of plastic waste monthly, and
Right.
130 to 150 ton of construction or industrial waste. So that's kind of like capacity that we have, and we able to manufacture 60-70,000 units again monthly. So that can go for 2-3 projects in a month at a larger scale,
Mm-hmm.
because these clients wants like 30,000, 40,000 units at
Right.
one time. So that is what we have, and I think it's a good capacity to go ahead with. As we scale, we can again reach to 100,000, sorry, 100 sorry 1,000 tons of capacity monthly. So that
1,000 tons.
1,000 tons of capacity with from 50,000 to 1,000 tons.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
Got it. And I know we covered the infra side of things, largely focused on the capex needed for
Yeah.
manufacturing. Even if you sort of outsource this, are there gaps or are there significant sort of capex
Mhm.
requirements needed, even if you're outsourcing this to partners?
Yeah, I think it would require, but even if so initial investment would require for the machinery and for the setting up the plant. But even if you operate that at a 90% production capacity, it can break even easily within 18 months, and that's, I
Right.
think, good break even period, because where industries have taken 3 years, 5 years, we just require 1.5 year to break even. So,
Right, right.
and again, like, because bricks, it's one of the material that always going to be in demand, so it's not
Yeah,
going to be like a stoppage, or due to some kind of like industrial break or recession. I don't think that can happen, but
yeah,
that could be like an ongoing demand, because urbanization development is not going to
yeah, yeah.
stop.
It's not a redundant investment
Yeah,
in any case.
exactly. So that's what I
Yeah,
feel. Yeah.
right. All right, maybe switching gears again to the
Yeah.
regulatory side.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the hot topics.
the hot topic. So,
Yeah.
what's your take? What's the
Yeah.
landscape looking like right now for sustainable building materials and
Mhm.
processes?
I think we have green building policies from Indian Green Building Council, which is a part of CIE only. So we have this. Then we have GRIHA as well,
Yeah.
which is a mandate for government buildings. So like like government has mandate, like all the government construction has to be green building certified by GRIHA, which is an organization that do green building certification, and
Hmm.
private players can get it done through IGBC. So
Yeah.
these policies we do have, but it's again like not been talked a lot about it, and many contractors, like medium scale contractors, builders, they still are not aware about these policies, and how do we take advantage of this policy, like what is the process, how do we have to go through it. To give you an example, I met an architect in Udaipur where she built this mall, commercial mall,
Yeah.
and I think that was the only building that I came across which is a green building certified. And
Right.
when I learned like what has been like her process to go through and secure this green building certification, and she told me it's not quite easy, because again you have to deal with the urban local body and the housing development bodies, and it's quite
It's
challenging for the,
cumbersome.
yeah, it's quite cumbersome, and it takes a lot of years, and you have to wait for the approvals, and you can't stop your construction to get your approval,
Yeah. Yeah.
right, for getting started with it. So I'm not sure like how does it in Bangalore particularly, because we're just getting started, but
Yeah.
yeah, but I feel like it's quite different, and also varies from state to state.
Yeah.
Few
Yeah.
states give additional benefits, while some states are still not even started, like
Hmm.
so yeah, you can find the details, like if your state falls, like what kind of like incentives your state government is offering, and based on that you can take a decision. But I'm sure know that the state government of Karnataka, they definitely offer really good incentives, and that's kind of like motivating for the builders also
Yeah.
to adopt and then go for such process. But it's
Yeah.
not same in other states.
Right. It'll it'll take
Yeah,
time to
it
catch
will take
up.
time. Like for example, like even Rajasthan, Haryana, we don't
Mm,
have that strong policies.
right.
Yeah.
And what do you think still needs to sort of um, happen on this side of things to accelerate adoption?
I think like we need some policies, definitely some push from government bodies. For
Yeah.
example, like there's a push on the CND waste, on the plastic waste. There was a ban on
Yeah.
plastic waste, so there's it's creating awareness among people as well, not to use plastic waste, to use paper or a cloth
Mm.
bag. And on the CND waste also, I'm seeing like some builders are adopting, a responsible way of reducing their construction waste, and how they can reduce their own construction waste. So I'm getting responses, good responses, and seeing a lot of a responsible way of ending up your waste from the builders and architect side.
Yeah.
But it's still not quite there from the built environment or from the green building policies, because of
Mm.
the again cumbersome process. And so I feel like the government, I think they need, or the ULBs, they need to ease down the process, bring some
Make
more
it more
policies.
seamless.
Yeah, make it more seamless, and also create more awareness, like such policies exist.
Exist, right?
Yeah, like for example, like common people, like they still don't know if they are building a green, if they're building their house, they don't know there's a green building policies as well. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so we need to make them aware about them.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. So, are there, or maybe internationally, which are the countries or markets that you think, are leading the
Yeah.
way in terms of
I
green
think
buildings?
I think European market, they are doing quite good, and also American market is also, because they have been like at the peak in urbanization and development. So, but right now I feel like European market, because they have this carbon credit policies, they have this plastic credit policies, and they also have green taxes. So if you're
Right.
doing green construction, they're gonna be like tax benefits on your construction, and it's a huge savior for them also. It's kind of like a motivation for the contractors and builders to use sustainable material or sustainable technologies for their constructions. So that is what I feel, and I am also seeing the media market is also quite adopting to
Okay.
such policies. Yeah, the Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
UAE as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
also going for green construction. I
Hmm.
feel like there's going to be a lot of demand from that market also coming in near future.
Right. And what's Angiras's future looking like? I know you're like in India right now and then
Yeah.
back focusing on Bangalore.
Yeah, so for the short term, I want to focus in South India, because I feel like we built this for India to solve India's
Yeah.
problem,
Yeah.
but I definitely want to take it globally
Mm.
in near future. So I'm looking for such partners who can join us, and we really need to understand what's there on the ground, because I also, like, when we start decided to set up a plant or to scale in Bangalore, I used to spend a lot of time in Bangalore meeting partners, potential clients.
Yeah.
So a lot of work is to be done on that part if we take it to the global market, but definitely that's the longer term. And also, like, India is one of the major exporter for the bricks as well, because again in European market they don't use this brick kiln process, clay
To
bricks.
manufacture.
Yeah, because it again, it's like they burn bricks and or bake bricks in coal and biomass fuels. It
Yeah.
emits a lot of emissions,
Yeah.
which is not good for the health and environment. So they export bricks from the Asian countries, being Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and China as well. So maybe that also we can look at, can we supply them sustainable bricks?
Mm.
Like, can we export that in near
Yeah.
future is something that also we can explore. And once we see a lot of adoption coming, then we can set up the plant itself.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's all good to hear and good luck to you guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, so maybe to close out on the discussion, um, I think you guys especially, this question is for you because you all started off right
Yeah.
from college,
Yeah.
and you'll have been running a company.
Yeah.
It must be absolute chaos. So
Yeah.
how are you managing, being a young founder and
So
making
it's
time
tough.
for life?
It is tough, basically. Like, when I see my friends, they are going on vacations, they are, living the best moments of their life, and we are struggling with convincing clients and convincing investors for
Yeah.
funding. But I think it's kind of like a roller coaster journey where, I mean, like some days going to be awesome, and some days going to be not so good
Tough.
and tough and
Yeah.
bad and challenging as well. But you have to navigate through it for the longer good time to come.
Yeah.
For the longer impact that we are envisioning. But yeah, I think, like, spending some time with family and friends, it's quite, I am still able to do it, because that refreshes my mind. And then I also, if I restart again with a refreshed mind, then good ideas comes to the mind.
Yeah.
And also having an amazing founders team, supporting team, like
Yeah.
I always say this, like I'm lucky to have a good founder and an amazing team that has been always supporting. They've been around with us from last 2-3 years,
Yeah.
struggling the same challenges that we are going through it,
Yeah.
and they still stick around with us. So they also see something, in the company, and in its potential and the longer impact that we can create. So yeah, I mean, that is the
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's amazing to hear. Kunjpi, thank you so much. I know that you guys are not just reinventing the brick industry, you are also tackling other secondary issues
Yeah,
also. There's plastic waste, there's
plastic,
CND waste,
CND,
there's air pollution.
right?
So really, really good to have
Yeah,
spoken to you today. Lots of insights, very informative.
yeah.
So thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us
I mean,
today.
like, thanks to you for having me and listening to my journey.
Yeah,
So thanks for having me, Ashwati.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in today. See you next episode.